Welcome to another video with your boy Marks. Today I'll be helping y'all understanding the following. As a PUBG player with 8,000 hours in the game, if I had to start over, these are the things that I would practice daily to become better. Before we get into the video, make sure y'all go and use my creator code M4WGZ in your crafting. If you guys are not sure on how to do so, leave a comment and I'll walk you through it. I will not just list it and tell you guys what to do, but I'm going to also walk you guys through it and show you exactly how to do it. I'm going to start off with the mechanic I get questions about a lot, and that's the slide cancel mechanic. So it's a pretty easy mechanic to learn once you fully understand it and it's explained correctly. So it's just sprinting and crouching simultaneously, but there's a trick to it. What you're gonna do, you're gonna let go of the sprint just for a millisecond, a short moment, and crouch. So after that first crouch, you crouch, you're not gonna click the analog again to sprint, because if you do that, it's gonna look like that. It's gonna stop running, because the game is like, it's still registering that you're sprinting, right? You're gonna click sprint, click the left analog after every other click. So if you click it the first one, you're not gonna click it the second one. You're gonna click it the third one. Then you're not gonna click the fourth one, you're gonna click the fifth one. And then you just let it go for a short moment and then hit crouch. Okay, so now I'll be going in depth in recoil control, right? So I have Trustmaster eSwap S controller, Pro controller. It's a very good controller. Since I bought it though, and it's like there's a setting in it for your analogs, for your sticks by itself, right? So when I bought it, I was looking at it, right? And then the sticks, they automatically come. Let's put profile 1 as default, because I don't use that one. So let's go to reset, right? Let's go to reset. So they automatically come at default at the small movements at 33, the medium movements at 34, and the large movements at 33. That's how most controllers come, right? You barely move the analog, that's gonna be small movements. So you're tracking someone that's sprinting, that's gonna be medium, and then a full extend is gonna be large. Also guys, use the angle grip. Take it from me, use the angle grip. Playing PUBG, no one is controlling their horizontal recoil. I don't think like the game, if you don't cheat the game, you're gonna automatically have horizontal recoil. Like even if you're pulling down perfectly, the gun is gonna go side to side by itself. May not be a lot, but by itself, the gun shooting is gonna go side to side by itself. Angle grip eliminates that, right? Also, if you're learning recoil, if you like, you could also use the muzzle brake. That removes the camera shake, so you'd have close to zero recoil with the muzzle brake. I don't use it because for me it makes the scope, it makes the recoil too stiff. Like it makes you have no recoil to the point where it's hard to move. I don't like that. But the angle grip, right, is a good to have, because all you have to do is you don't have to worry about your horizontal recoil, because the grip is already controlling that for you, while all you're doing is just pulling down, right? So again, to understand the recoil, remember that there's small movements, medium movements, and large movements, right? I'm gonna show you some examples on when you use small, when you use medium, and when you use large. Right? So let's say a car is passing by. Depending on the speed of the car, so that right there was me pulling in the medium, right? You know the motorcycles are fast. For the motorcycles, that's a faster vehicle. you're gonna need a large pull. Right? Vehicles that's not so fast, let's say for a UAZ, they don't go that fast. You only need a medium pull for the UAZ to be able to take the enemy outside the vehicle. Right? The different speeds. So small to medium, large. So do that a lot to see how much you have to pull down to get each pull. So the more you do it, is the more it's gonna be locked in for you. And it's gonna be muscle memory to know that, hey, a guy's like 200 meters. I need to pull down medium. You're not gonna say that to yourself, but it's gonna be like muscle memory, you know? You're gonna know, I need to pull down like this because the guy's right there. You know? Once you learn that, small, medium, large movement in your analog, you're gonna be set. Just a tip to make your gameplay better. I know most of you guys probably have your crouch as B on the not the B if you're on Xbox, if you're on PlayStation, O. It's gonna make your game more difficult, right? Crouching makes your aim way better. Like when you crouch, it reduces your recoil, probably like I'd say 30 to 40%. Reduces recoil like 30 to 40%, right? So crouching while shooting is very convenient, right? So while you're using B or O to crouch, it's gonna like take away from the experience of you aiming, because you have to take your finger off the right analog, right, to go click O or B, then come back to use the right stick. That's if you don't use pedals. A lot of people use pedals, so if you do use pedals, then GG's, you're good. But if you don't use pedals and you actually move your fingers from your right stick to press B to crouch, then go back to the right stick, your aim is gonna be off, right? Because then you have to aim, press crouch, then start, you know? It's gonna throw off it's gonna make you very slow. It's not gonna make you quick. So having your crouch, I would suggest you have it on one of your bumpers. If you don't have pedals, don't worry, you can use your bumpers. You can either use L1 or you could use LB or Xbox. L1 for PlayStation, LB for Xbox to crouch, or you could use whichever feels comfortable for you. You could use R1 or RB to crouch. So whichever feels comfortable for you, whichever side you feel comfortable on, you could use that, right? So instead of using B, you could use your bumpers to crouch, right? Another problem I noticed over the course of playing this game is the peeking. For the guys that like to spam peek while shooting, I caught up in a problem. Noticing my aim being thrown off by clicking the right stick, the same stick that I use to aim. You know, if you have your peek on the right stick, you know, sometimes when you're spam peeking, one of your clicks sometimes might throw off your aim, and your aim might go left of the enemy, right, above or below, because of that click, right? So what I did, I took my peek off of my my right stick. Not on my right stick anymore, it's on my right bumper. So when I'm shooting, it does nothing to my aim, right? As you guys, if you use your right bumper to peek, not your right bumper. If you use your right analog to peek right, you might have noticed that problem sometimes that you're shooting, and like your scope goes a little bit to the right, goes a little bit to the left. You know, it's just all over the place because of you clicking the analog. It might have happened to you, and you might not know why it happened. That's what caused it sometimes. You know, the right peak. while you're using it to aim. When you click it, sometimes it kinds of throw off your aim, you know. So that's another idea for you guys to look on if you like the change. I have mine as RB, which works fine for me. It's very comfortable. So for the way I play, right, I'm gonna have my left middle finger on my left trigger and my right middle finger on my right trigger, right? Then my left index on my left bumper, or L1 for PlayStation, right? And my right index finger on my right bumper, or my right R1 for PlayStation, right? So while shooting, right, a lot of people have their prone as well as B, right? I change mines to Y. So I don't have to leave my analog to prone, right? So if you don't use pedals, this is another idea as well, right? To put your prone as Y, because if you're gonna have your four fingers right there at the back of your controller pressing the two bumpers and the two triggers, right? Your prone being Y, it's closer to press while keeping your finger and the analog, right? So you could keep moving your scope while prone. So say you're drop shotting someone, right? So you're drop shotting someone, you could keep it moving, you know? That's just thought again for you guys. You know, you don't have to take your finger off your right stick. Yeah. So I have mine as Y. I'm gonna show you guys again. I have my prone as Y. Just for the main fact of not removing my fingers from my right analog while in combat. On my right stick at all times. So I move my prone to Y so I can use my right index finger. I'm gonna use my right index finger to prone, you know. So I have my stick on my right thumb on my right stick still, so I can move my stick while going into prone, you know, and not losing my aim because of the time I had to take to move my finger off my right stick to press B, then come back to the analog. If you use a paddle, then good for you. But if you don't have paddles on your controller, that's a good idea to have your paddle. Use another finger, like your index finger, to press Y. You know? And that's gonna be like a claw gameplay. Instead of B. So you don't have to take your finger. Mechanic I separated is my interact button. I separated my interact button and my reload button for this reason, right? And you have no more bullets and your knocked out teammate is here, right? So instead of reloading, your gun is gonna revive your teammate, and then the guy is gonna walk in on you, and then you're dead. I've died like this a lot of times, trying to reload my gun, but instead I revive my teammate, or I start to revive my teammate, and by the time I cancel and start to reload, I have to move, right? But that's gonna take away from the reload time, and the guy walks in on you, you're dead, or there's no space where you can't move, just like right here. So like say this is it, you have nowhere else to go, you won't be able to reload your gun, you just be reviving your teammate over and over and over. You might as well just stay and then reload your gun. Don't listen to me, don't thirst your teammate, that's not how. But yeah, I separated those two things, right, so that I can have a better mechanic while fighting, right? Let me show you. I can revive if I want, and I can reload if I want, right next to my teammate, because I have my interact and my reload separated. So my reload is left on the D-pad, and my interact is B. So I have things dedicated to things I needed to. If I want to reload, I can look at my teammate and reload if I want, and I can look at him and heal if I want. I can do what I want. I need to reload. I'm gonna reload and I knock him. Where's my teammate? I have to stop. Reload again. Still doesn't glitches between me shooting or reloading. And you might say, oh, just use auto reload. If you're in the open, you're caught in the open shooting at somebody, right? You're gonna automatically reload and be moving slow in the open instead of being to move freely, get into cover, then reload. Then you could fight the enemy. If you have auto reload while shooting, auto reload by itself, and then you're stuck in the open moving slow while doing a reload like this. Instead, just move to cover and then reload. But that's why I don't use auto reload. I do this, and I've been doing it, so I mastered it. I got it from Pubg Mobile. It's called Crouch Reset, right? To hit right? It makes me hard to hit while the enemy is just sitting there aiming like this in one spot. I'm moving. So it's like, it's making me hard to hit, right? Especially when I'm hip fire. I hit some shots. But the hip fire is to make me hard to hit. So when I hip fire, I normally hit a shot or two. If not, the enemy is already knocked before I ADS. But when I ADS, yeah, they're gonna be knocked. So you see, I hip fire first. That's the first thing I do. To make sure that I'm moving while the enemy is just sitting there shooting at me. Right? And that helps you against people with no recoil as well. The cheaters with no recoil. If you're moving, and they actually, Pubg has no aim assist. So they have to actually aim at you. So even if they have no recoil, they still have to follow you. So it still makes it hard for them to shoot you. Right? So yes, you know. So that enemy is moving as well, so it makes it harder. But if an enemy is standing still, let me go right here to the target that's moving slow, so it makes it easier. And let's just say this guy is moving, not moving, right? So you see, I go to the right, stop, ADS, and I and also the stops. Every time you go to the right and stop, what they're seeing is you moving, right? So they're gonna try to follow you, and then when you stop, your scope will still be moving. So that gives you, like, depending on how quick your enemy is, it gives you time to hit shots while they're trying to catch back you as a target. Cause they're going to this side and you stop. So their scope will be past you just like that, and they have to come back to you. So the time from them being over here to get back to you, you have a lot of time to knock the enemy or kill them. I'm behind cover, I get up. When I get up, I peek left and I peek right. So I also put in some analog movements as well. So my body is moving while I'm doing it. I'm gonna give you guys the enemy's point of view, so you could see how I look behind the cover. So you guys could practice this, right? So up, left peek, right crouch, left peek up, right down, left peek up, right down, left peek up, right down, left peek up. So it's like, for me, it's a rhythm. Then I practice it until I got it unlocked. you guys could do the same thing. So left peek, right, down, up, left, right, down, up, left, right, down, up, left, right, down, left, right, down, up, left, right, down. But you have to move, like walk with it as well. Walk with it as well. Because if you're just like in the same spot doing this, then your head is gonna be in the same spots over and over. So it makes it trackable, right? But if you're walking as well, let's say I'm using a DMR right now, right? And a guy is right there. So when, let's say you peek like this. So when you're moving back to cover, don't move. Because when you come back, your scope might not be on the person that you're shooting at, right? The best way to do it is to peek right. And when you peek left, your scope is going to end up back the same region that it was. You see? So just peek left and peek right. You should be behind cover. The enemy shouldn't be able to see you. Left, right, left, right. So just peek into cover. You know? Especially when someone is bolting at you. So another mechanic about the game that I like is the hold breath. I put my hold breath to my right trigger, which would be R2 for PlayStation. It's like a 2x in a red dot reticle. So you see all the 2x, you see a lot more. So for people that can't see as well as myself, I recommend using the hold breath while using the red dot, because you see more. Because if the 2x didn't have that circle around it, it would be a cool reticle, right? Because you see so much, like you see a lot. That's what the zoom goes close to a 2x while being a red dot reticle, which looks very cool and you see more, right? So it's a 2x, the red dot zoom is like 2x reticle, 2x scope in a red dot reticle. As well, also gives you automatic hold breath when you're spraying. So for the guys that like to run EMT gear and AUG, I recommend this as well. For your 6x, the 6x guys, it's very good because the character is not breathing while you're spraying. So you see, if I don't do anything, you see how the scope is moving by itself. If you don't hold your breath while spraying, that happens and it tends to make your scope not be as steady as it should. But if I'm supposed to press a button now to hold my breath, that's gonna stop and it's gonna be in one spot. So when you're holding your breath while spraying, it makes your sprays better because anywhere you move your scope, that's where it's gonna go, instead of it moving by itself, you know, without you doing it. Because of breathing, the whole breath helps that, you know. So whole breath helps that from happening while spraying. So a lot of you guys might say, oh, I use my whole breath when I use a bolty. Well, I use a bolty as well, right? But I turn my scopes down very low. So my scopes for my bolty like 8x or 6x, because I don't use DMR anymore since they messed it up. But for my bolty scope 8x, 15x, they're very stiff, right? So what I do, I have it very low, and I just say I'm waiting for someone to peek, which you shouldn't be doing, right? You shouldn't be just standing in the open just waiting for someone to peek when you're using a bolty, because you have to be still. And you might get sniped by someone else. But I use low scope. It doesn't breathe as much when it's low, right? And you just shoot. So you don't have to hold your breath when you're big scopes or low. So if you don't use DMR and you're just a bolty person, I recommend using very low scopes or your bolties because it makes it more accurate for your shots. And if you notice sometimes when you have higher sense on bolties and you shoot, you might have your scope on the guy's head. And you shoot and it doesn't hit. And you're like, oh my god, that's on his head. How did I miss? Because of the character, the scope moving after you shoot. Because of the sensitivity of the scope. So, like, there's like a small flick that you don't realize. Because of your sense. You know? So I recommend all bolt users to use a very low sense on your bolties. Easier headshots. So another thing I recommend is that to get a Sharpie and then stand still, right? And you see that dot in between your reticle, in between those 4 lines, use your Sharpie and just tap it once or twice. But don't actually spin it or draw a circle, just tap it, right? So it leaves a slight mark on the screen. What that does, you see, or you can see the reticle. As soon as you sprint, the reticle goes away, right? And let's say someone's at that corner right there, and you want to keep your reticle on him, right? While pushing him. You want to be able to know that as soon as he peeks out, you know where your scope is going to end up. I know that if you guys struggle with that, and sometimes when you do that, your scope might end up way over here and you have to bring it back to the guy around the corner, right? I'm going to do the same thing. I know where my red dot is gonna, or reticle of any scope is gonna end up because of that while I'm sprinting. You know, if you have this, you already know where it's gonna go because you have the dot, you know. But without it while you're sprinting, it goes away. Now you know where it's gonna end up. And instead of you running and you got your thing right here in your ADS, and you're way over here, then you have to come back to blue, you're gonna die. Unless the guy is bad, but if he can play, you're gonna die.